All right, so we're recording. It's been a while.
Yeah, welcome back to a Little Less Than Random with me, as always, Jason, and Andrew in his Starfighter Rebel thing, and Baby Yoda,
Baby
who
Yoda.
randomly speaks here and there once in a while.
Yeah.
Say hi, Baby Yoda.
Hi, everybody.
That was pretty cool, Jason. I didn't even see your mouth move.
No,
It's
mind powers, force. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what is on the agenda today?
Well, I think we have another epidemic on our hands, aside from the coronavirus.
Oh, we have a lot of epidemics.
We have the Karen virus.
Right. So, first of all, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
what was it? Do you have a permit for that pizza?
I don't need a permit for that pizza. Well, surely you must do.
Okay, so why don't you tell the listeners? I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of Karen at this point, but for those,
Yeah, I didn't know what Karen was until my poetry class when they're mentioning it, and that's how I found out. But okay, well, it started off as in retail as a typical white woman, self-entitled.
Wait, typical or many? Not atypical.
Stereotypical.
Stereotypical. Okay.
White woman who's self-entitled. You know the one here. I don't know if I can pull up an image here. How would I do that?
Well, that was Becky, right? So I want to know whatever happened to.
No. I'm actually talking about Karen.
Okay.
Here, I can pull up an image.
Is there an actual person that the meme of Karen is based on?
Well, I'll show you if I can screen share for a sec.
You can, yeah, I believe you can.
There you go. You know, these women with haircuts like this.
Oh wait, that was what is her name? Jenny McCarthy?
Yeah, kind of like the Jenny McCarthy logo. This is a better example of Karen.
Yeah, the idea of getting the manager. Okay. All right. Well, I have a question for you. Okay, so Karen is a stereotype, right?
Yeah. And pretty much.
And a stereotype based on race. Is the meme of Karen racist?
We can have a whole debate about that.
It's an honest question.
Well, you know what? Like I said, it went from a term used in retail to refer to these women who want to, quote unquote, speak with the manager, having this absurd hairstyle.
Well, let me go back to
That's Baby Yoda.
That is someone that looks like Kate Gosselin. Do you remember Kate Gosselin?
Kate Gosselin?
She was one of the
She relates to Ryan Gosling?
No, she was one of she was on a show and she had all these kids. So if you look her up, that's who she's based off of.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember vaguely.
So also associated was not really, I don't think it's racist in a sense that it has more to do with the privilege aspect. And
well, there's a racial component for sure, right? So it's like the Karen is usually the stereotype is a racist. So it's got like a double layer, right? Of race.
Yeah, I mean, there's more because it's like a belief system as well, because they are, seen as anti-vaxxers and having this bob cut, it's an image as well.
So is there anyone in particular you want to talk about?
Well, okay, like I said, start off like from what she said, and it kind of evolved into this. Now these are like racially motivated women who are just harassing people of color for everyday things,
Mm-hmm. So I remember I think that the most popular one was that it was actually not Karen, it was Barbecue Becky, where she.
Well, yeah, they all go by these names, but essentially they're all descendants of the Karen.
Yeah, but do you remember that one where there was a woman who called the cops because people were barbecuing outdoors? And I remember that case because technically Barbecue Becky, like, it was technically not a place where people were supposed to barbecue, but it wasn't something where the police needed to be called. Like, the police being called is like an extreme overreaction. So the Karen meme is similar to that in that the lady overreacts. So you sent me one of a lady who like did she pull a gun on somebody?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
that
right.
one.
Yeah.
That was one. Yeah, that was. Yeah, that thing that happened where here in California or somewhere.
And there was like a lady she was driving. She was like already in her car. They had like a little argument, and she could have just driven away and been the better person, but she didn't. She ended up going like
Yeah, I mean, one could argue that the mother and daughter, the ones that were being harassed.
Okay. Yeah, I remember they did aggravate the situation, but it still doesn't condone her pulling a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this still doesn't condone
Yeah,
pulling the gun.
especially at that point because she was already in the car. Like she could have just driven away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agree. Uh-huh. There
but
was,
no one was expecting a gun being pulled at, even if you were trying to get an apology out of someone who did you wrong.
mhm. Right, exactly. There was one. Well, I wanted to let you kind of pull up some of yours first. There was one though that I wanted to talk about that was really interesting to me.
Which one is it? The Permit Patty, the one who called
Not,
the cops on an 8-year-old kid selling water,
I did
trying
see
to go
that one.
visit
Yeah,
him?
okay, that's awful. Yeah, there's some like
And
there's a
she's
lot
trying to hide, like, yeah, my 8-year-old neighbor's, my
of
neighbor's daughter's selling water. I think she needs a permit.
yeah, so there's like all these rules that are technically, it's like this woman who like, okay, there are technically some little rules, but if we followed every single rule to the absolute letter of the law, it would be insanity. And so the Karen meme is like an example of when rules can get taken too far, and also when people only seem to notice them when it's of a particular racial group. So it's like a stereotype of somebody who is enacting the roles because of a racist agenda.
Yeah, I mean, these are people, usually women. I mean, guys are guilty of this too, but mostly it's white women
Mhm.
acting self-entitled.
Right. Well, I'm sure it goes
I
a
think
lot
it's okay to harass and question other people's, people called, mostly African Americans. They're just going about their days, and then they get harassed by a white woman.
Well,
I
I'm
think
I have a question because I heard of the term Karen for a while, but before it was just seen as, oh, you're having a Karen moment or something light. But do you think that because of the recent Black Lives Matter and the whole racial injustice, you think that Karen terminology came back up and now people are more like identifying these women, or it's more of a racial tension?
Well, I do think there's some tension there because I know some people like I got to be honest, it's like a lot of these things are funny, but I'm not a huge fan of the Karen name. The meme. I'm not sure if it does any good. Like everybody would agree that you should not call the cops on people for a minor, let's say a minor breaking of the rules. Like let's say that somebody stopped too long in a 15-second loading zone, right? I don't think that anybody should call the cops or have a fit over these sorts of things. And I do think it has something to do with racial tension, especially because everybody now has a cell phone. And so, literally, the worst interactions that exist in the United States are getting recorded and uploaded and shown on the internet every day.
Oh
So,
yeah, but it's like a common everyday thing now. This is not just
Yeah, I
like
feel like June, we jokingly said to tackle the Karens because
Attack of the Karens.
it's
yeah,
just,
but as long as you have just one a day. So, like, let's say that there used to be, I don't know, let's say there were thousands of
there's
Karens.
always
There's only
been,
one
but now
Karen
it's
a
being
day.
recorded, or is that why?
There's probably maybe right now as we speak, there's an angry white woman, giving someone a
But
hard
okay,
time.
but then here's my thing then.
Hmm.
Everyone has stereotypes. Why can't we just all take it? Okay, you know what? It's true. My race has a stereotype, but I'm not like that. Just
Well, yeah, there's an element of truth. There's certainly a privileged type of person who overreacts to a gentle breaking of the rules and who wants like they call the cops. That it just is insanity. In fact, they have those new laws, right? That's what you mentioned earlier, Jason.
What?
The new laws that they're proposing for
Oh,
the
like Karen Act
yeah, charging them $10,000
with the
for
C.
Yeah.
Said caution against racially exploitive.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go a step. Okay. So I want to start with that. Start with that. So most of these women, when they do get uploaded to the internet, they immediately lose their jobs. Almost all of them, right? And so
Yeah.
Right. Cancel
there.
culture.
Now there are people in society, enlightened societies, just in general. Um, if people do a crime, then they serve their time. There's a certain period at which we forgive them. In fact, I teach a unit from Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, of trying to reintegrate people into societies. And so I wonder if the such harsh reactions people have to these Karens, and I'm going to show you an example where I think it's not so black and white. I think it's
Okay. No. No. Okay.
no pun intended, right? Right. And so where I think it's a little bit mixed, where you could see potentially how this one particular person might have misread the situation. And I'm especially interested in getting the female perspective on this
All
one.
right. Okay. So just go and spit it out.
Okay, so all right. Well, anyways, I was saying that okay, she's getting fined $10,000. In fact, I think she is getting prosecuted. But the guy for this case, his name was I think it was something Cooper. Was it
Christian Cooper and
that,
Amy
that's
Cooper.
that's right.
Rich
Amy Cooper,
Cooper.
Christian Cooper, exactly. He's actually decided not.
Coincidentally, the same last name. Yeah.
Yeah, no relationship, right?
Obvi-
He's decided that he's not going to cooperate with
Yeah.
the.
I read that he wasn't going to cooperate. Damage has already been done. He
Yeah.
sees no fit to get involved
Right.
anymore.
And so my question is, I wonder, like, certainly there should be a punishment, but does the punishment match the level of the crime? Because we absolutely
Well, the
let
worst she's
off.
looking at is a year in prison just for a false report. Because that's the waste of cops' resources. That could have been time for an actual
Yeah.
crime.
Well, okay, here's my concern is I teach a whole unit on mass incarceration, and I'm trying to get fewer and fewer people incarcerated. And
Okay, but who's mostly incarcerated to begin with?
well, we could have that discussion.
Exactly.
Well,
So I'm pretty
yeah.
sure you can last 1 year in jail if convicted.
Right.
If not, maybe community service.
But
I
we
mean,
don't
she's already been shamed enough.
right.
Let her live with that. She made her bed and let her
Right.
sleep in it.
Oh, but is losing her job,
Actually, she regained her dog back.
she regained her
So
dog back,
good
but
on that.
okay, so
After like
that's
10
good.
days after it happened.
Okay, yeah, but I'm sure that was still a traumatic experience to lose her dog even for 10.
Oh, for her to lose her dog. It was a more traumatic experience for someone falsely claiming they're going to threaten that person.
Okay,
Well,
let's actually talk about it because I think I have it.
You want to pull out the clip?
Yeah.
By all
I'm
means.
not gonna pull up the clip.
Dissect the video.
I wanted to pull up just like a thing that goes through what happened. I don't know if this was the New York Times, but actually it's like people responding. I wanted to find that quote that he said. He said something like, okay, well, let me just say what happened. So there's Karen, Amy Cooper, right? She's in the Central Park and she's letting her dog roam around free. This is during the pandemic. This is, I don't know, it's just a while ago. So people were still doing the social distancing thing. So there weren't a lot of people out and about, and a lot of things were closed. And so one part of the park where dogs are allowed to roam free is closed. She's in a new part where there's another guy
Well,
named
it's called Ramble. It's still, I think, within Central Park.
yeah. And so there's this other guy, Christian Cooper, who approaches her and he says he doesn't say, "Do you have a permit for that pizza?" He does the reverse and he says, "You're breaking a minor rule and put
I don't
your."
know. Yeah, I think he said something to the effect, "Can you please put a leash on that dog?"
Yeah. But isn't that kind of the Karen thing to do, is to see somebody in a extremely unusual circumstance
But
of
he said in the most polite way.
well, I don't know, I wasn't there. And
Oh
so
yeah, no
uh
one was there, but yeah.
yeah. So I'm basing this off of his side of the story, actually, because I read his Facebook on it. Okay, so he says, instead of "Do you have a permit for that pizza?" he's like, "Could you please put your dog on a leash?" And she said something like, "Oh, the place where I normally go wasn't open, and so that's why my dog's roaming free." And so, I mean, you can compare this to the barbecue Becky example
I
where
mean, no, that's nice. Not put on the leash on the
people,
dog.
yeah, people were barbecuing in a place that was clearly listed "Don't barbecue," right? So minor breaking of the rules. All right. So then he's probably encountered this a lot. So this is where I think the differences of the perception of the event go awry. So he has treats on his person because this apparently happens all the time, and he uses the treats to distract the dogs so that they don't bark at the birds or something like that. So first of all, he's a bird watcher. How many bird watchers have you ever met, Jason? And I don't know if this is normal.
I'm pretty sure it's more common in New York than here.
Probably more. Okay, yeah, I don't know, and maybe in that specific area, the Ramble, it's more popular. But I mean, how many? I mean, I have never met a bird watcher.
Okay, you're getting to the assumption and conclusion that
okay, all right,
that all bird watchers are secretly, peeping toms.
No. Well, okay.
If that's the argument you're trying to build here, then
amount of people who claim to be bird.
You're trying to say that she didn't know who she was.
He didn't know. Yeah, I'm trying to say exactly. Thank you, Laura. I'm trying to say he didn't know who she was, or she didn't know who he was. He didn't know who she was. They were complete strangers. I've never bumped into a bird watcher ever.
Right.
Then again, how often do you go to the park?
I go to the park, a different type of park, right? We don't live in New York.
But here's the thing. I do agree with Andrew on that. If I were a woman and then someone came
You're
up
alone.
to me, I would be startled, right?
In a pandemic.
To identify yourself, like, who are you? Like, who are you to tell me, right?
So
but we don't know how far into this conversation they got before the recording started happening. Because at this point, it's like he said, she said thing.
Right, and I want to make it very clear. At this point, we have perfect information. We know that Christian Cooper is not a bird. It was a bird watcher. He's not a weirdo. He has a degree from Harvard, I believe.
And he's a comic book writer too.
Yeah, but here's the deal: is if you meet some stranger, you don't know this. And the first thought, whenever I meet a random person,
well, he didn't know her either, so
exactly. So you don't know each other, but. So she's a woman alone, and so you need to know what the quote was. So he said, this is according to his Facebook, and I don't have it right in front of me, but
he posted this on Facebook before he started recording her?
He posted this on Facebook with the recording, I believe.
The statement where he's, if you're going to do what you're going to do, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you're not going to like it?
Yeah, okay, Laura. Okay. The man tells you, and we don't know how he says it, because this is written, this isn't in the video. He says, look, if you're going to do what you want to do, then I'm going to do what I want to do, but you're not going to like it. Maybe he's smiling while he says it, but who knows how a smile can be interpreted. You're alone in the park with this guy.
So he posted this after?
He posted this afterwards, and apparently they both agree he said this, because
this... that was before, but...
okay. Well, I pulled up an article that I read recently. Mm-hmm. It was published on... Let me see who the publisher is. They did an interview of him. It's by CBS News. Mm-hmm. So I think, honestly, he was referring back to the racial tensions we were talking about. Because here in this article, this is what he says. He says that... Hold on, oh shit, I lost it. Hold on, real quick.
That's all right.
Oh, it's not really about her and about her poor judgment in a snap second. Mm-hmm. It's about the underlying current of racism and racial perceptions that's been going on for centuries, and that permeates the city and this country that she tapped into. So that's what really, I feel, that he made it more personal.
Right. I think
about it. Had she called the cops and not recorded it, the cops would have automatically taken his side, and we would have had another George Floyd.
Because I watched this video. This video, okay? He was standing there, and she was like literally
being hysterical.
Yeah.
And she could have said, someone's threatening me. No, she said this African American guy.
She had to specifically mention that.
So you can't say that she wasn't tapping into that racial or that Karen vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Or maybe the discussion need more.
I'm going to steel man the other side though. What first step is, I would want to say, is there at least some percentage of a possibility? Like, let's say it's 50-50 or, even 70-30. I don't know, if we're convicting her, let's imagine we're trying to convict her. Obviously she should be tried of a jury of her peers. And so nobody should convict her, but until that happens. But if we're just speculating, is there some reasonable doubt that she could have interpreted that sentence as a threat? And if that's true, would that be reason for her A, to act
Well,
hysterical,
he had told her repeatedly multiple
and
times.
B, and I actually don't remember in the video how descriptive
And
she is.
then that's when she presented the dog treat.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then she
but
refused to
again,
get the
you
dog in near
don't know
him.
what's in that dog treat, or what is that dog treat. And
Oh, yeah, because what he's going to do, poison the dog.
I don't know, like that's a possibility. Like, who knows what's running through this woman's head in the middle of a pandemic. So first of all, everybody's stressed. Uh, Obviously, the George Floyd thing had just happened, but um, if you are giving a description to the police of who to look for, what are some of the characteristics you would say? Would you say there is a non-arboreal bipedal human being?
Well, obviously
I,
not.
I, I
No,
see what
yeah,
you're
he's
saying.
trying to
No
say
one's
like
going to go by that.
Exactly, right. I'm trying to make a counter argument here.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to say that it's at least a little bit messier than I think some people are trying to make it out. And
Well, you know what it is. You know what?
and
Let
let's say she was
me
100.
still man you here then.
But let me see. He didn't upload the video. His sister did.
Yeah.
So his sister is the one that uploaded this
But
video
look,
on social media.
and if you, it's not what she said to the dispatcher on the phone, it's how she said it. At one point, she was like, "Oh, there's an African American man. I feel threatened. He's threatening me and my dog."
To me,
and then the next
okay.
second, she's raising her voice,
Okay,
hysterical.
how about this? Okay, let's how he said. Okay, let's take away the language, right?
Hmm.
Let's say if I was just judging her on her body movements, she was shaking. She was just completely like thought like there was a man killer next to her. Like he was like a couple feet away. He wasn't even near her.
Yeah, well, a couple feet. I mean,
And then he told her, "Don't come near me," too.
he did, yeah. And so I would say she acted irrationally, but
Yeah, and like I was trying to say, she raised her voice. She went from a calm voice, "Oh, there's an African American man threatening me and my dog," and then she's like, "Oh, please, come here immediately!" Like she was like alarming pace.
So she acted irrationally, right? But we all know, oftentimes when white women act irrationally like these, what happened to Emmett Till? Like this, he was whistling, and this white woman, said he was whistling at her and checking her out. What happened to him?
Exactly. Right. There was no phones then. Because that's the thing about racism. And let me quote Will Smith here. Racism is not getting worse. It's getting filmed.
Yeah. And it actually, well, here's the deal, is it also might be getting better and getting filmed, too, at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So now, because we never see racism until now. I mean, racism is like rearing its ugly head.
So let's say
we only hear acts of racism, but we never seen it up close and personal.
That's not to say that this could go either way. It's just that unfortunately it is messy these days because there's a war right now. Like,
yeah. Okay, so let's assume she's guilty. Let's assume she's motivated by racism. What is the appropriate punishment for somebody who, and like, let's say there was let's say it was a media, like I think that maybe there was a subtle amount of racism involved, right? So let's say the fact that she mentioned that he's an African American male, where she could have said I have no idea how tall he is, that he's 6'2", that he is wearing blank outfit. I don't know what he was wearing at the time, but rather than describing him in those ways, that was what came to mind. So let's say race played a role. Even if that's the case, what I was mentioning earlier was that Michelle Alexander, when she writes about how you reintegrate people into society, is that you should offer some sort of way where people can, in fact, I think even people like Deanne.
Again, you're talking about mass incarceration.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about really bad crimes, right? When people do really horrible crimes like rob somebody at gunpoint, like George Floyd, for example.
Did he rob someone at gunpoint?
Yeah, he did.
Really, when was this? Because
it's not
the worst thing he did was give someone a fake $20 bill.
No. This was before that.
Some other incident?
No. This was before that. So, but he had paid his debt to society. He was trying to be a better person, right? So we want a society in which we encourage people to be better people, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So shouldn't there be an avenue? This is all I'm arguing for, where Karens are allowed to re-enter into society. They don't have to lose their jobs
I
forever.
think they need
They don't.
sensitivity training.
Well, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that could
but
be.
it's not equal. That's the point right now. That's not an equality across all races. That's not what's happening.
Well, but we want to argue that even for, I mean, I would argue that for everybody. I would argue that for the person who, robbed somebody at gunpoint too, that they should have an opportunity to also, be forgiven, having paid their debt to society, let's say, for whatever, and maybe she will. Maybe
Yeah, that's it. But
maybe she'll
hers
go to
is
court, she'll
more
pay a fine,
easy.
and
But
and then I think, she shouldn't be unemployable for the rest of her life.
okay, I'm not saying unemployable, but
But okay, so
she needs to prove that she
yeah.
isn't what she a
Okay,
racist.
okay, and she is gonna get, what she, what is it in law? Like she's gonna get proven
Innocent until proven guilty.
okay, but how did she lose her job? Like her job fired
Well,
her, or was there was an order?
Well, there was an investigation, and then quickly the day after it happened, they
Oh.
Yeah,
fired her.
it's probably a PR thing too, I'm sure. Um, and some people will say, well, there should be consequences for holding.
Okay, she overreacted. That was just one instance of Karen, but not all Karens act. Well, let's talk about the other Karen, and nothing actually happened to her. Remember the one I showed you, the one that happened in Glendora at the parking lot of a Walmart?
Yeah, that one was really bad.
That one was worse.
Right.
And then this one was in like an exaggerated fear.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do believe that there's supposed to be redemption for everyone.
But
Yeah.
no, this woman, okay, I didn't hear any reports. I guess not every Karen video makes it to the mainstream media, but this one is like, I have to show you the video. And
Yeah, sure.
everyone watching this podcast needs to
While
see
you're
it.
while
Here,
you're
let me
doing
pull
that,
it up.
yeah, while you're doing that, I will agree with you. I think that I'm kind of interested in this one, the Central Park one, only because I think that not all Karen videos are equal. So some of them are obviously bad. They're easy to call. But this one, I felt like when you do look at all the information, there were some ways in which you could look at it and say, wait, I could have
this
taken that
Karen.
threat. Like I could see that side of it
Well,
where,
this one they call her Walmart Wendy. So
okay. Oh gosh, these names. Well, at least it's not just Karen, I guess.
okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so here it is for the good 3 minutes of it. Listen, and then just
Yeah, we don't have to watch the whole thing. We can just watch part of it.
Because he's Mexican. My little nephew's Italian, Mexican, and Aloha.
aloha.
Gosh, yeah. All right, so she's definitely uneducated too, right? And I think that I usually see a commonality between a lot of these Karen videos you send me.
Oh yeah, she definitely didn't look scared. I think she was like predatorily trying to go after someone just because.
Yeah. Well, I was also going to say that they all, many of them all seem very, very uneducated too.
Yeah, aloha. Oh yeah, isn't aloha like a greeting in Hawaiian?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Aloha. Oh, what are you? I'm half alohan. Aloha.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I never heard anyone say that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the irony of calling somebody else a stupid F.
Oh, and then she calls this guy
Right. Yeah.
Here, let's continue watching.
Don't tell me I'm racist.
This woman called the cops on a man she thought looked illegal. He
Yeah,
came out of the bushes. He's trying to take pictures of me. She says,
He looks illegal.
"How do you look illegal?
right.
How does one look illegal?"
Yeah, this one's easier for me to call. A lot easier than the other one.
Oh yeah, a lot easier.
Yeah.
This one's just straight up racism.
Yeah. I would agree with that statement. And so like somebody like this, I think it's obvious they probably should pay a fine. Again though, like I wouldn't want to trade places with this person. I'm pretty sure she's already I have a feeling she was suffering before this even happened in a way. Like there's this
all these Karens, they probably, who knows, most of them are like, they're probably not getting attention from their husbands or they got divorced.
I don't know.
But what do? They make
You
other
cannot. No. You cannot.
Okay.
Blame it on a biological thing here.
Well, there was a
You're assuming because she's a woman, she has hormonal issues.
wait. Did Jason? I didn't hear that. Is that what Jason said? I thought he said they might be going through other stuff.
Okay, maybe these Karens don't like other people being happy because their own lives are miserable.
Wow.
And maybe, presumably,
I heard they
they're
might.
not getting attention from their husbands or boyfriends or whatnot.
Wow.
I mean, okay,
Or they're divorced and they're miserable and they just want to take it out on others. They want to harass others for being happy,
I
for
would.
being themselves.
I wasn't
And
going to go that far, but yeah, I do think that probably to some degree, this person's already going through something. And I'm not going to agree with all of the stuff that you said, but there's a great Danny Glover quote which says, why give somebody hell when they're already there?" And a
what was
lot
that from The Weapon?
no, this isn't from Lethal Weapon. It's from one of his lesser known movies where he works in a burger joint. I don't remember the name of the movie.
Burger Joint.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful quote because it's true. A lot of
Remember?
time, I don't remember the name. No, I don't remember the name of the movie. But it's often true that some of these people who are just truly awful people, most of them are people you wouldn't want to trade places with. They don't have any power in society. They're pretty awful people. And, I would say these people, I'm less worried about those sorts of racists than I am the other types of racists who can affect policy, let's say. With the other Karen video, I mean, I guess she's a little bit different because she has more power, let's say. She's obviously more educated, and that
Oh,
would,
you want to speak of actual white women or Karens,
yeah, just
that
just
aren't like busybody know-it-alls. Okay, how about this Karen? We can look at this Karen right here. Karen at Target, and she was the CEO of some
yeah.
company.
Well, there you go. Or like, who's the other lady? The head of the education, Betsy DeVos. I don't know if we count as a Karen.
I don't know what you're referring to, but okay.
Oh, well, anyways, she would.
Well, here, listen to this.
Well, finally, we meet the end of the road. I've been looking forward to this shit all my fucking life.
Well, really? You've been looking at pulling off face masks all your entire life?
I'm not playing any more games. This shit's fucking over.
And that brings us to the next issue too, Andrew.
Don't do drugs.
Cool.
Don't do
These
drugs.
Karens
This shit's over. This shit's
just
over.
seem
This
that
shit's over.
not wearing a mask
This shit's over. Yay!
or the idea of wearing a mask doesn't apply to them.
Oh, gosh. But don't you think that we need like mental health help for these people?
Oh, of course.
We don't want any of this anymore.
You know what? You know what? Okay, it's been recently said. I forgot where, but can one say racism is considered a health issue or a health crisis?
Oh, I think so. I think it's absolutely a mental.
Yeah, because I think it's a state of mind. It's
absolutely.
It's these dangerous ideals of like ideologies of perceiving other people as threats or inferior
or lesser, yeah.
Lesser, yeah.
I think I
said, racism is taught.
And the thing is, like, who creates the faces of the enemy? Society.
Yeah.
Well, this has less to do with racism, but she does say some anti-Semitic stuff in this. If you continue.
What? You let everybody else do it. Let everybody else do it.
Okay, what the fuck is she talking about? Let everyone else do it. Who else knocks out other white women?
Oh, I get it. I think I get it. She's probably referring to like the protest and how people remember that lady. There was like some woman who was like stealing like lamps during the protest.
No, so much happened in the protest. It's hard to keep track of.
Well, that one was really popular. There's this one Target image of a lady.
Oh, I guess
she got matching lamps.
Matching lamps, yeah.
I guess Karen's.
And so she's probably just.
Why do you mean protest or riot? Because clearly those are two different things.
Okay, no, these were the people who were. In fact, I don't think these were even protesters. They were just.
No, they were looters.
Yeah, they were trying to take advantage of the peaceful protest, and they were just.
Karens are looters too. We need to call on Karens on that. They're gonna call us on whatever stupid shit.
Right. Okay. So yeah, this one's easier. She's obviously crazy. I think she needs help. I think she needs mental health help. I feel bad for this person. Yeah, and there's a lot of them. There are a lot of people who do these awful things, or say these things, or think these things. And I hear a lot of really awful things from time to time too. So it's not that I doubt that it's not that I doubt that Karens exist. I certainly do think there are plenty of them. I wonder if
It just seems like it's like almost like an epidemic.
this is what I was going to caution you is that if you have a society, if the United States has 328 million people in it, and everybody has a cell phone, that means that on any given day, you're going to see the worst interactions of human beings
Yeah.
posted online, and so that means you're going to see a Karen video every day, um, even if these things are drastically diminished, unless you get them down to less than one a day with interactions between 328 million
Well,
people.
we can't predict human nature. It's human nature that someone's gonna.
Well, remember that 1% of society is psychopaths. So, um, you're going to find Karens no matter what, even if
Well,
you.
you know what? That 1% seems more often than you think, don't you?
Well, that's because we all have cell phones, so we're just recording them. So I don't think Karens are an epidemic. I just think that we're noticing them.
Okay.
I think they're just trending right now.
Okay, long story short,
Very long.
brings us here where we are now. So just today, I found out they're making at least in San Francisco at the moment, are trying to pass this bill into law
Right.
called the Karen Act, where they make it illegal to make racially motivated calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that should be true. I'm just my only worry was like with the edge cases, not the edge cases. Like some of the cases are easy. What would we call them? Not edge cases. The more difficult cases. That sometimes those could get lumped in to the other ones, and I think that most of the ones you showed me would apply to that, where you could very easily say, yeah, that person made a racially motivated call, and it was obviously bad. But we don't want to punish people uh, more extremely than we would punish somebody for, let's say, robbing a small business at gunpoint. Like,
it's hard
I mean,
for me.
that's true, but it's just the circumstances right now because of the circumstances, because of the racial tensions.
right.
It's gonna get, it's gonna go with the magnifying glass. But
Yeah,
I
but
just think that nowadays, I mean, they don't deserve to lose their job or be canceled out because everyone.
they might. I'm not saying they might not.
But my thing is though, if you're gonna do something like that, react something like that, you have to tread with caution because everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has.
Exactly. So next time someone wants to say something racist or just get on your business because you're of different color or whatever the case.
Honestly, because I think about if she really truly felt threatened. When I feel threatened, as a woman, when I feel threatened,
Central Park Karen?
I can barely speak. Like I would be so shaken that I would just be like trying. She just seemed like she was furious. She was just like, I'm gonna exert my privilege. That's how I took it. That was.
And we're talking about Central Park
body
Karen?
language. Yeah.
Not the other two. The other ones I thought were really easy and were obviously
okay. I understand where she might be coming from, but the way she escalated her voice while calling the cops was just that giveaway. She sees a threat. She's going to want to neutralize that threat.
Well, and I don't know. I would say she could be a really
parents could be your neighbors, not letting you go out of your own apartment.
Yeah.
Or letting you go to your own pool.
Right. Or the people who are calling the cops on people for giving society free fireworks all month long.
No, that's a hazard. That's a whole different.
No, that's a Karen.
It's gonna be funny then.
You're calling the cops on people who aren't doing anything, who are just lighting up some fireworks, giving them for free to society, so that everybody.
Yeah, but did I ask for fireworks?
No, but you got them, and you got them for free.
You gotta think about your dogs. You gotta think about people who suffer from PTSD.
Well,
that day should only be reserved on
the minor infraction. I think Karens are the people who are stomping on other people's fun. They don't like.
Okay, you want to talk about more Karen stories?
They don't like dogs. They don't like dogs running free. They just hate everything.
About these two, there was these two African Americans at a restaurant, and this older white one comes up to him.
Yeah,
why are you eating with your mask on?
Okay.
And then the person.
Okay, no.
Kid, right?
Okay, you want to say it? I think you got best.
Okay. So They were eating at a restaurant, and this older white woman approached these two young black guys and basically told them, "You're not wearing a mask, and you need to wear a mask because it's mandate and blah blah blah." But they were eating at a restaurant, so they had their mask
Socially
down.
distance.
Yeah, I had their mask down because obviously they have to eat.
We have to go
And
like this, right?
you know, she didn't pull away. She was just there. And you look back, her husband is a couple seats, you know, behind her, and he's eating without a mask, obviously because you need to eat without a mask. But
No, I've never heard anyone eating with their fucking mask on.
and so
You know-
she was just harassing their space.
Okay,
you
so that's a perfect example. That one to me sounds like an easy case of she's definitely Karen. Some of them are like, is she 10% Karen? Is she 20? Like, I think these are degrees. Now one thing,
Karen.
one thing that this reminds me of, though,
Karen. That should be the name of the episode.
Yes,
no, it's do you have a permit for this pizza? Okay, wait. One thing though that always interested me, like I heard this one the other day from my uncle, where he said like, okay, when you're eating in a restaurant, the virus is like, okay, attack. Okay, pause. Okay, attack. You know, like it's like the virus like is taking breaks. It knows when you're eating, so it stops being dangerous all of a sudden. That's the sort of funny thing to me. That's why I haven't been eating in restaurants. I don't know how some. Well, you guys don't eat in restaurants, right?
Oh, we do.
Some.
no.
Just the wall, at least the one
Okay,
time when they had
so-
sushi.
I just can't. I don't know. I just don't see it. I know some people like. I hear it's low risk. It's not worth it to me. I feel like the risk is growing. But yeah, so there's that.
I don't believe. Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, like, I could say that honestly, I think we did it because we were just really like
Hungry.
we
Yeah.
were like we need to get out, but it was a bad judgment call because I really do regret doing that.
I don't know. Like I talked to my friend Dan the other day. Maybe not the other day. It was like a week or two ago. And he was like, "Yeah, I eat. I do all these things. I go out. I eat. You know, it's like he's like as long as you're outside." And I see his point. If you're outside,
Yeah, all I just gotta say is wear a mask, use a shit ton of sanitizer,
yeah,
stay away from as many people as possible.
yeah. You know what you guys should read though. And it doesn't really talk about Karens, but it does mention.
Oh my gosh, if you're gonna say the new Jim Crow again.
Oh, no. This one's different one. Actually, I like the new Jim Crow. You should read the new Jim Crow. But,
yeah. Okay, okay. And going back to that, just because, like, okay, mass incarceration, I get it, but
Well-
don't you think mass incarceration is just like the modern day slavery?
Not just like it, but it's I think the low hanging fruit. Like it's something we really should put all our energy in. I think
The industrial prison complex.
Just like bails and all that. I mean,
yeah, like I think if you want to improve people's lives on a massive scale.
Well, yeah, I totally believe in redemption.
Yeah, and that's an area where I think we have a lot of like low hanging fruit. It's just easy opportunities for improvement. So that's why.
Well, it all depends on the individual, case by case basis.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff is kind of boring, right? And
a crime a white person would do, or like supposedly a person of color would do, should, like a white person would do, it should be the same punishment.
Right. Yeah. So like
it doesn't make sense how. Okay, let's go back to. I know we're going off topic with the Karen.
yeah, where are you going?
Well,
Elijah McCain happened in Aurora, same place where the shooting happened, in the theater, mass shooting, right? Okay. Well, actually, he did nothing wrong, right? He was just living while black, and he gets killed for it because he's an introvert, eccentric person, right?
I'm not sure if I know.
But then you get a mass shooter. Oh, and maybe those are two different things. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
if a person of color, I was just saying.
I know where you're going with this. You're saying,
I'm trying to kill a dead.
Yeah, you're talking about like different punishments for similar crimes, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, I got it. Okay. But I think what I was going with is like, yeah, I totally agree. And I think that is a place we could spend a lot more energy, but that solving those sort of problems is kind of boring. Sending memes about Karens is entertaining, and I think we tend to focus too much on the Karen videos, who are people, who.
Like, I mean, it's cringy. It's cringe. It's a cringe.
Yeah, but I think we see it as a form of entertainment and laughter. But I think that does less than focusing on the larger systemic issues because that stuff's boring.
Yeah.
You have
Well,
to.
that's
But-
because
but-
it's human nature.
Yeah, like that's what I was trying to say earlier. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Because it's I don't know if you know this song by Tool called Vicarious. You should look up the lyrics.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
Basically,
Jason, you want to do that?
humans, we're drawn to tragedy. You know, we feed on that. And it's unfortunately, but it's the truth. So I think Andrew's right. We should be focusing on things that benefit us as a whole.
Yeah,
But
but it's kind of hard to do that when you have people women systematically targeting
Wait, not just
men
women
of color
and a lot.
over just because they're living while black.
Yeah, not just women though, of course.
I mean, yeah, there's been males too.
Yeah.
But who uses their white privilege more often in a self-entitled way?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine that there are many men who do it too. So I don't want to sound like we're picking just specifically on women here.
oh,
women,
you know
yeah.
what? That's what we're not. What's the equivalent of a Karen
A
as
Kevin.
a male?
Or Kevin,
Oh, Kevin. Oh,
or
right.
Darren.
Wow.
I don't know. So okay. Did I have anything else to add there? Let me think. Well, yeah, I think that's about as much as I want to say about Karens. Oh, I was going to mention this book that you all should read. I listened to the audiobook version, and some people hate it, some people like it. I would say there are good aspects to it and bad aspects. It's called White Fragility. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, of course I heard of War Fragility. That's what all this is.
Robin DiAngelo. It's an interesting book. It doesn't really mention Karens, but it does mention the white
But
women's.
it ties in with that, they're uncomfortable talking about their own privileges.
Right, but it also uses like how people can weaponize empathy, and how some of the conversation gets deterred and gets all the air gets taken by somebody who's crying, like let's say the woman in the Central Park on the phone, and so that's a possibility too. So I thought that part was interesting. I had a lot of criticisms of it. I'll probably do an episode where I criticize it a bit at some point in the future, or just make my own little.
We've been doing nothing but criticize in this podcast.
Oh, have I?
We give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt of what could have happened.
Yeah. Okay, so
Well, that's the thing, though. We gotta learn how to stop having racially biased phone calls, and hopefully that's what the Karen Act is gonna do.
right.
If it passes,
Hmm.
so far it's only in San Francisco, probably like one of the most progressive cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say this though. Okay, so it's a good idea. I think that
Sure.
people should be punished if they make false reports, right?
Yeah.
And the punishment should be at least as severe as whatever the other person would have gotten. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But theoretically, it should be pretty severe. Whatever the other person would have gotten if they were falsely accused and convicted, it should be commensurate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can both agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, anything else, Jason?
No, I guess that's just what's going on so far. Other than just waiting for my second stimulus check.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. You think it is?
Who knows? From what I'm hearing, late August, early September.
Yeah, I'm not counting on it. So who knows?
Well, things are getting worse, like you said. So
Well, I don't know if they're getting worse. They're getting worse right here in Riverside County.
exactly.
So maybe we'll get a stimulus check. That'd be nice. But I've heard some things like it might be a smaller group of people who get it, which is I guess it makes sense. But some of the people who need it this year, might have had a nice income last year. Oh, is there Yoda? Yoda's coming back.
Mhm.
Bye.
Well, I guess-
All right. I guess that's about time to wrap up the podcast then. So,
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, stay safe out there,
Yeah,
and
For the
avoid
people who
trouble. And if you see a woman calling on you, what do you do?
pull out your cell
Pull out your phone. Hopefully, you have battery, enough storage. Hopefully, you have social media, and you should be good.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Try not to get canceled, Jason.
All right,
All right.
unless they get canceled first.
All right.
All right.